Pastor Mike here of Christ Church, Goderland. In our last Bible talk, we looked at the bibliographical evidence for the Bible. Today we're going to take a look at some of the archaeological support. We won't be able to get to all of it because there's just so much, but I do want to give you some of the highlights. The archaeology of the Old Testament, for example, is astoundingly accurate. Scholars used to say that the Hittites didn't exist, and so the Bible was called into question because they hadn't found any evidence for it. But then in 1906, an archaeological dig confirmed the existence of the Hittite Empire. Then they found its capital. Then they found 40 other cities that made up its empire. Another example, in Daniel chapter 5, it says that Belshazzar was king. And historians said another man was king during this time, and so once again the Bible was questioned. Then in 1956, 3 stones unearthed stated that the king of Babylon had led his armies into battle far away and had temporarily installed his son Belshazzar on the throne in the time period that Daniel was describing. In 1986, scholars found an ancient seal belonging to Baruch, the son of Neriah, a scribe who recorded Jeremiah's prophecies. In 1990, Harvard scholars found a silver-plated bronze calf figurine reminiscent of the golden calf from Exodus. And in 1993, a 9th century BC inscription at Tel Dan had words inscribed in basalt referring to the house of David and to the king of Israel. Solomon's reign, for example, is corroborated by independent accounts from both Egypt and Assyria. So there is so much evidence for the Old Testament, it's literally overwhelming. In fact, during the 1930s to 1936 excavations of Jericho, British archaeologist Dr. John Garstang said, "As to the main fact then, there remains no doubt the walls of Jericho fell outward so completely the attackers would be able to clamber up and over the ruins into the city." Now, why is this unusual? Well, because when cities are being besieged, their walls don't fall outward. They fall inward because that's the pressure that the besieging army is putting on them. Walls don't fall outward. And yet in Joshua chapter 6, verse 20, we read, "The walls fell down flat. Then the people went up into the city, every man straight before him, and took the city. The walls were made to fall outward." Nelson Gluck, a Jewish archaeologist, said, "It may be categorically stated that no archaeological discovery has ever controverted a single biblical reference. Scores of archaeological findings have been made which confirm in clear outline or in exact detail historical statements from the Bible." When it comes to the New Testament, once again, archaeology confirms the Bible's accuracy. Luke, the beloved physician, was the author of both the Gospel of Luke and the book of Acts, and he makes numerous references to governments and titles and people and places and so forth, all of which have stood up to time. Ian Blakelock, professor of classics at Auckland University, has said that Luke is a consummate historian, to be ranked in his own right with the great writers of the Greeks. Mira Unger has said the Acts of the Apostles is now generally agreed in scholarly circles to be the work of Luke, to belong to the first century, and to involve the labors of a very careful historian who was substantially accurate in his use of sources. And here's the interesting part. If Luke got all these details right concerning all the things that were going on during this time frame, then it makes sense that they got the rest of it right as well when it comes to the miracles of Jesus and the miracles of the apostles and so forth, with no legitimate reason to discredit them beyond mere prejudice. In other words, the Bible's accuracy is backed up by science, backed up by archaeology. Until next time, happy reading.